Hello, hi Avinash. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
We'll start in a minute.
No problem.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Hi Avinash. Hi Avinash. I have now. I think I can hear your audio. Can we just do
Okay.
a small? Yeah. Okay. And so, good afternoon, everybody. We'll start with complex written filing and complete digitization webinar. We'll try and get you through the challenges that is there into the process of preparing yourself in terms of IT towards the digitization for GST. We will also show you the demo for it, and I and Avinash will take you through the entire process, and we'll try and explain you at every stage what needs to be done in terms of IT infrastructure, what needs to be done in the preparedness, and how we can go further and be prepared for the rollout. If it happens on 1st of July or 1st of September, let's be prepared for it. So I'll shift to the next slide on the emerging landscape of GST. Avinash, you can take this slide.
Hello, everyone. Now, this slide represents emerging landscapes for GST. There are certain segments which we have identified, which are going to be impacted due to the rollout of GST, and we need to be attentive and well prepared before the GST is rolled out, so that we can roll out or we can implement the GST in much better manner in our organization. I'll be starting with ecosystem. We need to be sure that not only us, even our customers, even our vendors, and all the other stakeholders must be GST compliant. Because unless they are GST compliant, it will be a problem for us. I will just put an example here, and the example pertains to, suppose you are purchasing certain goods from an ex supplier who is not a GST registrant or who is not having GST compliance done. Then in that situation, you will be losing the credit part, and a lot of certain examples can be there. So you have to be very much sure that whether your vendor, customer, and other stakeholder is GST compliant or not. Moving further, it speaks about IT infrastructure. See, as we all know, that GST is going to be 100% automated system. It is going to be a full-fledged online system. GSTN is going to be online, and right from registration till the appellate level, everything is expected to be online. And in that situation, you will have to change your IT infrastructure. You will have to change the manner in which you are doing accounting as on date, because your accounting system after the implementation of GST has to be as per the requirements and standards of GST. Then your accounting system should be prepared in such a manner, your software should be in such a manner that the data can be extracted out of it and it can be directly filed on the GSTN platform with the help of GSP, or maybe the data should be in order with the GST requirement. And for that, you will have to work on your IT infrastructure, and the required changes has to be made available before the implementation of GST. Then it comes to organization readiness. This is one of the most important limbs, I would say, because unless all the organizations are ready, it will become very difficult for us to comply with the requirements of GST as per the expected level. And therefore, it is said that you will have to analyze the impact of GST on your supply chain, because now, up till now, what we are doing is going to be changed under GST. We are working on a taxation system which is origin based, and now we'll be working on a taxation system which is going to be destination based. So when destination based taxation system is going to be there, it will impact your supply chain. What supply chain you are following today is not going to work. Once the GST is implemented, you will have to work on your logistics also, because now you have a system of stock transfers that is not going to be there in GST, because whenever you will be transferring or supplying any goods, irrespective of the fact that you are supplying to your own branch or a warehouse, the GST is going to be implemented. You will have to pay GST, and therefore it is going to impact your working capital. And when the working capital is going to be impacted, certainly it is going to impact on your pricing. So you will have to be ready. You will have to work out. You will have to do the implementation, impact analysis before the implementation of GST, so that once the GST is rolled out from the appointed day, which is expected to be 1st July 2017, you are prepared completely, not only from the perspective of IT infrastructure, not only you are assuring that your vendors are GST compliant, but also you have complete impact analysis on your supply chain, on the logistic, pricing, working capital, as well as the inventory requirements for your business. Moving to the next slide. Next slide, please. Next speaks about the impact of GST on the IT system. Now, IT system, as I said, is going to be very crucial. It is going to play a very important role, because see, let us take an example that you have 2000 invoices per day. It's not possible for you to file or to submit the data of 2000 invoices manually on a day-to-day basis to the GSTN platform or GSP. You will be requiring a system which will directly bridge the gap between GSTN and you. Your software should be so much prepared, and it should be GST compliant, irrespective of the fact whether you are using Oracle Business Suite, SAP, Tally ERP, or any other ERP. You will have to change certain systems in your softwares, and those are pertaining to the various statutory reports. Whatever statutory reports you will be getting from your existing software till 30th June are not going to work under GST. Over and above that, the entire tax codes, the classification of goods and services, that is also going to change. So you will have to change your masters, you will have to change your codes pertaining or in line with HSN codes or the service accounting codes which are going to be there in the GST scenario. Then moving further, accounting, the entire manner in which accounting is to be done will get changed, because now it is purchase, sale, manufacture, removal, and in case of GST it is going to be supply. Anything and everything that you are supplying, irrespective of the fact that you are supplying at zero price, then also it will be covered under GST. And last but not the least, entire return filing process and reconciliation, it has to be system based. Unless it is system based, it will be very difficult for each one of us to manage business as well as the compliance requirement under GST. So we'll have to change our accounting system and the softwares according to the need and requirement of GST. Now, if we go into little detail and see what all masters or formats are going to be impacted under GST and the IT system, we'll be able to conclude that vendor master as well as the customer master, one and the same thing both, but you need to prepare master in such a manner that you should have GSTIN number state wise, because GST is going to be destination based tax, and therefore it will be dependent on state wise GST code. So GST identification number state wise, their addresses, if they are having more than one branches, whether reverse charge is applicable to them or not, whether they are covered under exemption notifications or not, we will have to maintain those masters. Then stock transfer master also needs to be maintained, whether branch transfer is attracting GST or not. If it is getting attracted, suppose let us take an example that within a state you have two branches and you have single registration, then in that case even the branch transfer will not attract GST. But in case you have two numbers of business verticals within the same state, then even those branch transfers will be covered under GST and you will have to pay GST on that. So you will have to maintain two separate books accounts, vis-a-vis one for GST purpose and another for the audit purpose. These two books you will have to prepare, because for each branch you will need to maintain a separate books, whereas the common accounting for auditing purpose, it has to be a common book, so that you will have to maintain. Then revenue master is very important. State GST, central GST and integrated GST code, the rates and the amount of that has to be maintained separately. And over and above that, we have heard that on 4th and 5th of March, one another code is coming, which is going to be UT-GST, which is again an extension of SGST only. Then certain expense GL ledgers and registers have to be maintained pertaining to SGST, CGST and IGST that will impact your existing IT system. Then there are certain formats and rules which are approved by the GST Council. Out of those, one very important and crucial format for you all is pertaining to invoice. So you will have to change your invoice format, which is there prevalent as on day, to the invoice format which is approved by the GST Council and has to be maintained under GST. You need to carry these informations, tax invoice or bill of supply. You need to maintain GSTIN number or UIN number, which is unique identity number. Then further, HSN code, service code, point of supply, rate of CGST, IGST and SGST and amount thereof. Place of delivery, that is place of supply, is very important, because this is something, if identified wrongly, then certainly you are going to collect wrong tax and pay wrong tax. And then whether you are covered under reverse charge or not, this has to be mentioned in the invoice very categorically and clearly. And then goods and services master, again very crucial, because you have to maintain HSN code wise the goods list and service accounting code wise the list of services that you are providing or that you are supplying from your GST identification number or your GST code. And last but not the least, purchase order and sales order master. You need to maintain a PO master as well as the sales order master, and it says sales data to be filed first to make reconciliation easy. Both should be changed in line with the invoice format and include various details like GSTIN, HSN code, service accounting code or point of sale, etc. Next slide,
I will,
please.
yeah, I will take you through the some immediate impact of GST on IT systems. Now, the first and the foremost, the major difference than what we have been doing for VAT systems or the service tax. Here, you don't have to file only the invoice level details, but even you need to file at the item level details. So this is extremely important, and it is a very, very major change into the GST system. Second thing is there is no manual filing. Everything has to be done through the digital network, and your systems have to be prepared, or you need to prepare yourself by being able to manually extract the data from your system by which you can file into the portal. So some of the key things, like even the numbering and the sequencing that you will prepare for it, by which you can identify your products by the state, or how you go about it, needs to be thought through and needs to be implemented immediately from April, because you will not be able to readily change it in 1st of July. Then whether you want alphanumeric invoice numbers or just a numeric invoice numbers, this is also something that needs to be thought through, and still we haven't heard clearly from the GSTN Council on what type of clarity they are going to bring in. Then GST numbers needs to be included in your all your vendor registers under the GST in accounting applications. So you need to start collecting the migrated GST numbers from your vendors, from your customers, and see to that it's implemented into your system. Then the HSN SSE codes, that also needs to be included into the product master, because that needs to go item wise into the GST filing. So these also needs to be made the changes into your ERP, and the necessary things needs to be carried forward. Changes are required to be done into the tax calculation process also, and specifically for the registered dealers, because the excise will be dealt in a very different way into that case. So that is something that we'll have to do. Another aspect is the specific changes required for traders, and that is also for the thing it needs to be done. IGST, CGST and SGST will take place of VAT, So that also change needs to be done into your IT system. Changes in chart of accounts, material master, trader master also needs to be incorporated. So that also needs to be taken through. And the branch transfer and the whereof transfer now also will be taxed to a certain level. You need to pay the GST onto it. So that also needs to be taken care. So these are the major changes onto the GST side. It's done. Now on the GST return filing, Avinash, you would like to take this slide? I think I'll take it up. Now the phase in which GSTR 1, 2 and 3 has to be filed is first you have to go through GSTR 1, details of outward supplies of taxable goods and services that we need to go through that. So you have to file the return for all your sales invoices. That is the first thing that needs to be done. Then once that is populated by you, you will get a form which is called GSTR 2A, in which details of your inward supplies are filed by all your suppliers. You will get the information onto it that you need to reconcile with your purchase data, and post that you will have to do a GSTR 2 filing. So that is something you will do the reconciliation and details of inward supplies of taxable goods and services which have been reconciled. You will file the GSTR 2 return for it. Once you have filed the GSTR 2 return, you will get details on the GSTR 1A, which is details of your outward supplies if there are any correction being put across by the people who are into that, and then GSTR 3 monthly returns on the basis of finalization of details, and you have to file the end GSTR 3 return submit. Hello. Yeah, so when we do the written filing flow, I will just go get you through the written filing flow from your ERP. When you use a GSP or a ASP solution, there will be a built-in rule engine which will file the returns, will categorize the returns in the right fashion, use a GSP and file the returns. Or the other method for you is go through the ERP system, go through the portals or on-premise utility, use the inward supply and uploads, outward supply uploads, again use the rule engine and file the returns through the process. So these are multiple different processes by which you can file the return. Now when we go through the supplier process for the filing of GSTR 1, then what he needs to take care of is, like, there are multiple 17 different sections into the GSTR 1 form, and from your ERP system you need to categorize the information into B2B transactions or B2B interest transaction having a value of more than 2.5 lakhs, or B2 transaction other than part 2, details of debit note, credit note, and all this information has to be segregated, extracted from the ERP and then file into it. This information from GSTR 1A will go for the buyer as the GSTR 2A, which he needs to reconcile with his purchase register, add, edit or reject, modify the data, and then again he has to file the GSTR 2A. So this is a process one needs to go. Similarly, from the supplier side, you will get the accept reject, you will get the functionality of accept reject of it, or as if you are a buyer, you need to file the GSTR 2. Again, you need to make multiple segregation of your data. Once that segregation is there, you send that GSTR 2, which is received by your supplier. He will do the accept reject, he will file his GSTR 1A, and based on all the concise combined data, you will be able to file the GSTR 3. From the GSTR 3, ITC mismatch report also would be generated. This is like a simple flowchart in which how the business can create and be ready for that. They need to re-engineer the accounting application that is required, like simple change the invoice format, change the HSA SEC codes, change chart of accounts, VAT and service tax has to be replaced by excise, GST, CGST, change tax rates and classification. So this all needs to be taken care into ERP situation. From that, you need to tie up with the ASP or a GSP who will use that rule engine to help you file your returns with the GSTN network. This is a specific requirement into how the GST ecosystem will work. Some of the typical features of the GSTP solutions that will be there. It will give a three-stage validation process where data authenticity is checked with importing as well as filing. A very advanced level of rule engine which we'll be demonstrating today is built-in rule engine to process and distribute invoices into the appropriate section, because you do not have to file for all the 17 sections. Email and SMS notifications will be auto-populated for the vendors that if you have an issue into the mismatch, that will be done. Reconciliation is the heart of the entire GST system. You need to reconcile your sales with, means like your purchase with the data that you get into your 2A. You need to reconciliation at every stage, and ability to add, reject or modify what has been filed. That is also quite important. Second thing is, because this is a complete digital system, you need to maintain the audit logs by which in case of any discrepancy you can inform the GSTN network on the time and place when it has been filed. And the access system would be provided will be an on-premise solution or onto the portal through a mobile app or an enriched API which can be integrated into existing ERP systems. So there are multiple ways by which this can be done. For the business, multiple business management with a simple single corporate structure is applied. Control user rights from each business unit will be provided, and one user can manage multiple business units, so this also will be provided. An advanced level of dashboard will be provided which will be demonstrated to you, on which you can see what is the status of your return filing, on which you can see what data you got from the GST network on the credit available to you, and what is the status of each of your form that would be available. Login with the advanced level of security system will be provided, and a facility for bulk import of the systems will be done. Another facility that will provide is separate utilities which will allow you to integrate your ERP systems with the GSP systems. So if you are using SAP or Oracle Finance or any other ERP, we can provide you the utilities by which it can be done. And advanced levels of user and roles will be managed, which also can be integrated with your Active Directory if that is required. So this allows the organization to integrate with their existing ERP system and do that. Now we'll shift to the specific pillars of the Enriched API. The major facilities that we provide through the Enriched API is business management, rule engine that automates the distribution of invoices, comprehensive dashboard for the Hawkeye's view for each business users, built-in validation that that helps you to remove the mistakes into the basic data, fully functional invoice management capabilities, built-in reconciliation engine, because reconciliation is the heart of the the GST network. Complete transaction log history will be provided. Then regular email and SMS notification will be done. One-time configuration settings for ASPs so that they can use it without getting logged into it, or they can use it through their systems. And branch units location management also will be provided. So all these facilities and features will be provided into the GSP system. We'll walk you through the demo of the GSP system. This is the typical dashboard of your GSP portal. This is an integrated ASP and a GSP solution wherein you can log in into the system through your username and password that you can generate. once you are logged in, you will be able to see the dashboard. This has various features onto it, and that you can manage your organizations. That is something you can do. Here you will be able to see your subscription level or the area of the type of subscription that you have taken on the GSP portal. You will be able to see the transactions that you have done. So whatever transaction limits, in case if they have been set, that will give you. From the business, how many business or how you have created, that would be available. Locations that you have entered into the portal, and the number of users that have been set, that also would be available. Similarly, from your GSTA portal, you will get the ledger balance information. So what is your liability, what is the cash available or the import tax credit that is available to you, that will be visible, and that will be integrated from the GSTN portal. You will be able to see the yearly return status. So whatever returns you have already filed or whatever is pending, that would be available. And on the bottom, you will be able to see the current filing summary. So if you have filed GSTR1 or exactly where you are in the status of the filing process, that would be visible. Now we will go and see the return filing flow for the GSTR1. So this is a typical return requirements. If you see GSTR1, it has about 17 different sections, 14 sections plus the 3 other information that you need to provide. And what we have done is, instead of you creating the data into this 14 sections, we want you to provide the data only into 4 sections, that is invoices, credit debit notes, advance payments, and the invoices issued. So this is the only information that you provide, and from that particular information, the rule engine, you can import the data into the system. Can we show the import data into that? So we can upload a file. The invoice file will upload. We'll take a file from our file folder, upload. Here this is a comparison. So if you are uploading through an Excel file, you can map this, and this is only one time requirement that you need to do. You can map your source file along with the Excel columns so that the data can be incorporated into system from the Excel file. And once that you have done this, this need not be done repeated every time. You upload this data into the system, and it will show all the errors that are there into the invoice. So if there are errors into the each particular area, it will show you. CGST rate, if it's not numeric, then it's with, if it's not with 2 decimal points, it will indicate. So we have created a kind of a advanced level of rule engine and a validation engine, which will provide you all errors, and you need to go through this errors, remove the errors into the data, take a copy of that error report, because you will also have to make the same changes into your source data for the filing. And once that is done, then the data is okay, then we can upload and finish into it. Here we will be providing one more utility also, that at a periodical level, if you want to upload the data of your invoices onto the GST network and just keep it saved over there before the return filing, you can also do that. So this is an advanced facility that will be provided. Now once you have done that, you can file GSTR1, give the turnover figure. We'll just put in some turnover figure over here. All this invoice data is auto populated, which has come into the return from the imported file, and it will be segregated into the actual section that it needs to be done. So the B2B, B2C, 2.5 lakh plus invoice, everything would be auto segregated, and the data will be populated into it. Then the aggregate turnover, once you put into the system, and you have put the month for which you need to file the data. Once that is done, you need to put the place and time, and you need to put your digital signature, or you can even use a Aadhaar authentication for that. After doing both, put your PAN number, and you can file the system onto the GSTN network. You need to put your OTP. Now if you don't want to use the OTP every time, you can create a long session onto the GST portal, and from that it will continuously be available, so you don't need to create the OTP every time. You can submit the return. and your acknowledgement number. This has come from the GSTN network. So your return on a sandbox of the GSTN portal has been submitted currently. Still, GSTN network hasn't given live access to the return filing. So we are still working with them onto that. But right now they have provided a sandbox environment on which we file it. Now from that we move to the reconciliation of 2A. So all the material that you have received from your suppliers will come into the reconciliation of 2A, and here you need to upload your purchase data into the system. So the purchase data, we have just put it into 5 different categories: the invoice, credit debit notes, the ISAD credits, advance payments under RCM, and ITC reversal. So you just need to put data of these 5 categories into the system, and your reconciliation form 2A would be ready. Now here there are 3 sections. One will be match records. You don't need to do anything about it, that automatically comes over there. So you don't need to do any manual work onto the match records. For the mismatch records, there can be 3 situations not available in your purchase register. So that if you want to accept, because there can be in transit, the person may have sent the material to you and he may have uploaded into the system, but you may not have received it. So this is one area that is not available in your purchase register. Second would be not available in the GSTN server. So you have it in your purchase register, but the person who has supplied you this material has not filed it in his GSTR1 form. So that can be a second situation. And third is mismatch in the amount or the data of the invoices. And here we have also taken care of the itemized mismatch. So that also you can verify over here. So all this facility into reconciliation has been provided. After you do the necessary modify, reject or accept or whatever corrections you need to do. And once this particular section, if we go to the not available in purchase register, but if the person has filed and then you have also not got it in your purchase register, but you want to accept that, then you can also do the claim duty on it. You can put your duty onto it, accept it and let it go. So this helps you in enhancing your credit, by which even for the goods that you have not received, you can take the credit of it. So that will help you in terms of the amount of GST that you have to pay. Now once the GSTR 2A is done, we go to the GSTR 2, which needs to be filed. Again, the data will be auto-populated from the 2A to this. You can view the data. If you want to do any verification, you can do that. If there are any errors into the data, that will be clearly visible to you, and it will be auto-populated into all the sections. If this is okay with you, you can file the GSTR2 return. Again, you have to push place and date, and again you have to digitally sign it. And once that is given, PAN number is provided, you can file the return. So this allows you to do GSTR1 and GSTR2 you have filed. Now from the GSTR2 you have filed, you will get the information on GSTR1A. Everybody would have verified your GSTR2 day, which will be populated, and from that you will get the 1A information over here. Again, if you want to do any verification on the 1A, modification on 1A, you can do that, and from that the GSTR3 return will be auto-populated. So you do not have to manually prepare the GSTR3 return, and all the information that you have entered into the system will be auto-populated as per the sections, and then the GSTR3 details can be generated, OTP created, and once you submit, then again it's the same. There are 2 sections that you need to do manually. This is a compulsion for the GSTR3. Once you have put the information into those 2 manual sections, you can file the GSTR3 return. We are just putting some basic data into it so that the system can go forward at the moment. But here you will have to put the actual data that will be applicable for that. Put in place, date, again digitally sign it, and file the return. Now this is a complete manual process from the GSTR1 to the GSTR2 to the 3, and doing with the reconciliation on 1 and 2A, the complete return would be filed. Can we move back to the presentation? And here you can get a bird's eye view onto the dashboard. And the key takeaways from this, what we say is you need to consult your chartered accountant, tax consultant on the GST compliance. So that is extremely important. You need to talk to a GST Suvidha provider or a ASP who will help you file your returns. You need to ensure that your vendors and customers are GST compliant. You need to review GST impact on your supply chain, logistics and pricing as early as possible. And you need to ensure that your accounting application has the necessary changes that is required onto it. Nash, would like to add some more points into it, looking to the current scenario?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just some
Actually,
more points. Yeah. What is the actual changes that are happening and the new clarifications that has come from the GST? If you can add some pointers onto it.
yeah, certainly. Like as rightly pointed out, that we need to be much vigilant about the GST changes which are happening day to day, and the major change that I would see is that not only we have to be dependent on the systems, we will have to be very much aware about our systems also, that how the returns are to be filed. No doubt the GSP is there to help us, the chartered accountant is there to help us, but we are the persons, the organizers, the main owners of the organization or businesses are the persons who are more aware or who are expert in their businesses, and they are the best persons who can identify the exact impact of GST. And then, so far as last few meetings are concerned, the major decision that they have taken is that they have approved the GST bill, and we are expecting that by the end of this month we will be having a final GST law, because of which we would be able to do the exact impact analysis. But prior to that, as rightly pointed out in this webinar, that we all have to be very much vigilant about the GST law which is there in the public domain, and along with that the draft rules and regulations which are pertaining to registration and the returns, which we have discussed today, GSTR 1, 2A, 2, 1A and GSTR 3. So we need to understand the entire process and the matching concept, which is a unique feature of GST in India. This is not there anywhere in the world. So this is a unique feature that entire matching has to be done, and in case there is any mismatch found, then it will be, what I can say, it will be given by the system itself, and then unless we match that, we will not be able to get the credit. So therefore we have to be on our toes, and not only the systems but entire business has to be changed according to the need and requirement of GST.
And I'll just like to add a couple of points. I was with some foreign delegates and they clearly said that the entire world is looking towards this reform, because this is the biggest financial reform of this scale and size ever undertaken in any part of the world. So the entire world is looking towards us, how well and how receptive we are to it and how well we are able to transfer to it. So that is all from our end. Thank you, Avinash, for your time and support on the webinar. Thank you to all the attendees for being there with us through the webinar. Please, if you have any questions, queries, you can mail us and we'll be more than happy to answer to that, and we'll be in touch with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.